We've had nervous markets, a smidge of Fed speak, and the sequester is looming. What's next for the markets and the economy? Joining me now are two Bobs. Bob Dahl, Nuveen Asset Management's chief equity strategist, and former Dallas Federal Reserve President, Bob McTeer. Gentlemen, good to have you on the program. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maria.
Good to see you both. Bob Dahl, let me kick this off with you in the markets. Of course, they've been on a tear lately, closing at 5-year highs, but they were spooked this week by the minutes from the Federal Reserve, which said or suggested they may stop the bond buying program or begin to wind it down at some point. Do you think this is a hiccup or the beginning of a downturn for the markets?
Look, I think the market has looked tired over the last couple of weeks, and this is just another reason. Look, anyone who thought the Fed would buy bonds forever probably hasn't been listening, reading, or thinking rationally. I think all they're doing is saying, this won't be forever, but for now, they're still at it.
Bob McTeer, what would be the right strategy here? I mean, we all know that the economy has been slowly but surely coming back, and most people will attribute that to the Federal Reserve stimulus.
Well, it'll be good when they can eventually ease up on that and abandon it, but I don't expect that to happen during this year. I think we can count on the Fed's significant support throughout this year.
How would you characterize the economy right now, Bob McTeer?
Well, it's vulnerable and it's weak. I think the fourth quarter negative number will be revised up into a slight positive. I think the first half of this year will suffer a little bit from the tax increases and possibly the spending reductions that are scheduled next week. But I see no reason that it won't take off and be much healthier in the second half of the year.
So, Bob Dahl, we're seeing the return of deal making in the markets. That's also one way companies have been using their cash. You saw Office Depot, Office Max. Last week, Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway and Heinz, US Air and American Airlines. A lot of deal flow. What do you think that says about the markets and about where we are?
Well, I think it's a measure that confidence is going from very low levels to less low levels. Look, we know there's a lot of cash out there. And if you don't have cash, you can borrow it, but not everybody can. If you're able to borrow it, it's pretty cheap. Stock prices are not expensive. Companies are struggling to grow organically, so let's try inorganic. I think we'll see a bunch more of it, Maria.
So, Bob McTeer, what about that? I mean, Ben Bernanke is testifying before the Senate next week. What can he say at this point? What are you expecting from that testimony?
Well, I think he needs to give a pep talk to the fiscal policymakers that there's more than one game that can be played here, and fiscal policy has been AWOL. I think the really important thing is to start working on the entitlement programs. It's not so important what happens to discretionary spending right now, but we've got to start doing something to reduce the entitlement spending in the outcoming years.
Everybody says it. I mean, this program alone, you've got so many people saying we've got to get to the entitlements. And the sequestration, which takes effect on Friday, March 1st, it doesn't even hit entitlements.
It's a bad idea whose time has probably come, because we don't seem to have anything else on the plate right now. I don't think that's going to be as serious as people are fearing it will be. As far as what's wrong, I think gerrymandering of congressional districts play a large role in this, because most of our congressmen are very secure in their jobs, and they can afford to take extreme positions and not be willing to compromise.
So in the face of all of this, Bob Dahl, how do you want to invest? What sectors do you like? Where should investors be exposed? And do you want to lighten up here?
Well, despite the government, and Bob had it all right, including the gerrymandering point, I think we're in an environment where the U.S. economy in the second half will be stronger than the first half. Emerging markets are grabbing hold and no longer declining. So the world is healing. It's becoming less bad, if I can put it that way. And as a result, I want cyclicals in my portfolio, some industrials, some technology. I'll take an energy company or material here or there. And then in the defensive area, I still like healthcare. They're the kinds of names, free cash flow oriented, that I think can win.
All right, we'll leave it there. Gentlemen, great to have you on the program. We so appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Maria.
We'll see you soon. Bob Dahl, Bob McTeer joining me.